What's your opinion of an investigation by the serious
I think
fraud?
it was foolhardy to start it. Everybody got terribly excited and wanted to investigate something that had happened 20 years earlier and prove that it was wrong now.
Have you seen the secret agreement, the Al Yamama contract?
We saw enough of the underlying contractual documentation to satisfy us that we were on the right track. The confidential nature of the agreement didn't amount to an insuperable case-stopping obstacle.
Didn't give them a blank check to do whatever they wanted with this money?
Not as far as we were concerned.
With all due respect, they are the authorities. They were conducting an investigation.
Yes, that's true.
You do have the rule of law.
We certainly do have a rule of law. And in our rule of law, you require prima facie evidence in order to charge anybody. And nobody has ever been charged. And I don't know that they should take any pride in the quality of their investigation. And in the end, it was stopped.
After that decision, Robert Wardle was let go as director of the Serious Fraud Office. And then Helen Garlick resigned. With the investigation of the Al Yamama deal out of the way, late in 2007, the King of Saudi Arabia made an official visit to the Queen of England. There were assurances of cooperation between the countries.
We also continue to work together against the terrorists who threaten the way of life of our citizens in both countries.
All this had been watched with great interest from Washington. Today, the Justice Department still has the toughest anti-bribery law in the world and the biggest commitment to enforcing it. Mark Mendelson is the chief prosecutor for international bribery.
The Department of Justice currently has well over 100 cases under investigation, and over the past 2 years or so has collected almost $1.5 billion in fines and penalties.
Jack, you don't want to say anything?
The biggest fine of all for an American corporation, over $500 million, involves this man, Albert Jack Stanley, former chief executive of KBR, then a subsidiary of the Halliburton Corporation.
Can we expect more indictments as a result of Mr. Stanley's cooperation?
The only thing I can say with respect to that is that the investigation is ongoing.
It's not over yet.
It is not over yet.
Fine, $800 million. And that former manager of the slush funds, Reinhard Sikacek, he was convicted in a German court for his part in the bribery.
Der Firmenname Siemens wirklich beschädige, wage ich auch stark zu bezweifeln. Nachdem in vielen Ländern das absolut üblich ist gesagt, die Leute haben Pech gehabt und sie haben gegen das 11. Gebot verstoßen. Und das 11. Gebot heißt, lass dich nicht erwischen.
The U.S. government had also opened its own investigation into BAE, but the British were not cooperating. So on a Friday evening in May 2008, a secret meeting was called at the Justice Department. U.S. prosecutors decided to launch an unusual operation. In a dragnet aimed at BAE systems in the United States, they served 4 executives with grand jury subpoenas. And on the same day, detained and searched the company's chief executive officer as he arrived at Houston's International Airport.
No explanation was given to him as to why this was happening. No charges were laid, and then he was allowed to go about his business. That's the way you conduct law. It's not the way I believe law should be conducted. You're busy poking around. It's got nothing to do with you. Just nothing. You should mind your own business.
What are we doing prosecuting and investigating foreign companies?
If a company conducts business in the U.S. or takes some step in furtherance of a bribery scheme within the U.S., that is the business of the United States. And those are cases that we were going to investigate and prosecute.
Mendelson would not comment on the U.S. investigation of BAE, but Frontline has learned that the investigation includes BAE's worldwide arms sales network, as well as the Al Yamama deal.